Karen Nyamo says that elections are not won by noise. She says that the loudest side usually loses. And she promises that Ol'Kalou will actually teach us, the opposition guys, how elections are actually won. Fair enough. But if UDA is so confident, why is the entire government camped in Ol'Kalou? And this one especially is most important. Why, after 46 years, has the government suddenly remembered that people of Ol'Kalou actually need a railway?
The historic Ol'Kalou-Nyahururu railway line is back on track after more than 4 decades of silence.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is not confidence. That is called panic.
Ile railway ya Ol'Kalou sasa inafanya kazi. Sijui imeanza kufanya kazi kwa sababu kuna election ambayo inakuja Ol'Kalou, ama unaichukuliaje hiyo?
It is a campaign tool yenye the president want to use it to woo the people of Ol'Kalou.
This is officially gotten to some serious levels. Let's talk about it. If you love this kind of content, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Now let's get to the video. You see, this is not just any other by-election. This is a political referendum. It is a test of whether Mount Kenya can still support William Samoei Ruto.
I told you that betrayal is not forgiven among our people. You chose to listen to Kimani Ichung'wah. Sasa hii jamii imekukataa. Na nilikuwa nimekuambia.
That is why everybody is actually watching this election. Okay, by-election. The government understands it. The opposition understands it. Even political analysts are fully aware of the situation in Ol'Kalou.
Nasikia UDA in Ol'Kalou by-election wamechukua the strongest candidates. Wamewalipa sijui 500 million each. Nataka kuambia those candidates, chukueni hizo pesa, enda uweke mahali. Because if anything is to go by what we are seeing, the UDA primaries today in Ol'Kalou, my friend, you will be humiliated and Ruto amewaharibia your political life.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
Sikulikuwa na uchaguzi mdogo jana Kenya. Muliona vile tuliwaosha.
You see, ever since this government came into power, this is not going to be the first by-election. As a matter of fact, we've had many by-elections. But opposition voters have dismissed previous losses, saying, for example, if you take Mbeere North, they argued that local factor influenced the outcome, that people were too poor and they could be bribed easily.
You people were given money. The financial ecosystem in Mbeere must have improved, so there's a flood of money.
And that way, the results in there could not actually predict the entire mood in the whole of Mount Kenya region. But Ol'Kalou is different. This is one of the country's key agricultural zones, what they would call a food basket. A region known for hardworking farmers. A region where voters are less likely to be swayed by short-term political gifts like money or by train.
Travel with me from Nairobi to Nyahururu using the Nyahururu Safari train, which is back on track after 46 years.
That is why this election is attracting way so much more attention.
If it is a genuine thing that the president intend to bring that railway station back to the Ol'Kalou, back to Nanyuki people, he could have started date back in 2022 when he took power.
So now let's talk about the moment that shocked most people. A railway service that had been halted for 46 years was suddenly revived.
Sai mukitaka maendeleo kwenu, lazima muombe MP wenu akufe. Naona Ol'Kalou, by election 2, train imefika Ol'Kalou. Sasa nasikia kuna train ya Gilgil hadi Nyahururu.
Think about that. For nearly half a century, the people lived without this kind of service. A service that we all agree is a very important service, especially in a place where agriculture is such a big deal. But for all that time, nothing happened. There was no urgency, there was no action, there was no concern. Then suddenly, a by-election arrives and the railway returns. Just like that. And the government officials were actually seen celebrating. They were inside that train, having drinks, having food, as if this was one of their biggest achievements. Taking photos, riding the train, acting as if they had delivered a historic victory. But many voters saw something completely different. They saw desperation.
And I want to tell the people of Ol'Kalou, this is not a genuine thing. And the president of the government is not doing any favor to anybody in Ol'Kalou, bringing back the train in Nanyuki.
You see, what the president does not understand is that his challenge is much, much bigger than development.
Hebu nikuelezee Mr. President William Ruto. People are not stupid. Watu wamekuwa werevu bana. Hata ulete wacha hiyo train, hata ulete ndege inabeba watu free. Wanajua hiyo ni hongo. Wanajua hii ni njia moja ya kuwaragai.
That is the problem. Because development can solve many political problems. But what happens when voters move past development? What happens when the people believe that the problem is no longer roads, it's no longer railways, it's no longer projects, but the leadership itself?
Your train tangu izinduliwe a week ago, meua watu 3. Sasa wanauliza, hii UDA, dada lali tu Kasongo. Kila kitu dada tu mbaya kwako. Train imeua watu. Wewe tena umetuletea Ebola Mount Kenya.
That is a much harder problem to fix because no project can actually rebuild trust overnight.
Ebu ambie this time round, hata William Ruto alete pesa. Hata akikuja na Biblia tena, ebu ambie tutakuwa Waislamu sasa.
Sisi tumeamua hapa ni one term, watu wa Ol'Kalou wameamua ni one term, na Kasongo ni nyumbani asubuhi na mapema.
But there is more. This presidency is going down. You see, political observers and political analysts are beginning to notice something very interesting. Some of the people who are closest to power appear to be preparing for a different kind of future. Take for example Farouk Kibet.
MPs huwa wanapanga line kwa ofisi ya Farouk Kibet ili wabook appointment ya kuonana na Ruto. That is how strong Farouk Kibet is. More than governors and senators wakwenda kuona Ruto. But mtu strong namna hiyo anaacha kiti yake ya kuwa strong ya kugovern kila mtu, anaenda kutafuta kiti ndogo ya MP huko Tarbo. And you think it's a coincidence? You think amechoka kukuwa mkubwa wa ministers, wa MPs, wa magavana na senator, at the end anaorganize mkutano na Ruto? Unadhani amechoka? Ameenda kutafuta kiti yake Tarbo. Sasa yako ground anafanya campaign.
Also, there are other figures, other political figures who are very close to the president. There is, for example, Oburu.
Tuenda kwa mtu alikuwa juzi anasema anataka power. Oburu alikuwa anasema yeye ndio presidential candidate wa ODM. Yeye ndiye atanegotiate na Ruto the coming government after Ruto amewin 2027. Lakini juzi 2 weeks ago amewaambia yeye hataki hiyo mambo yote, anataka tu kuretain kiti yake ya Siaya senator.
There's also Wanga.
Kuna mwingine anaitwa Gladys Wanga. Amekuwa akipigana akuwe running mate. Si ndio? Juzi si amebarikia Kindiki. Akasema yeye hawana shida na Kindiki. Yeye anataka tu kuretain kiti yake ya Homa Bay kama governor.
All these people are repositioning themselves politically.
Let me tell Kenyans, wait around November. Utaona hii watu yote, they will be running away. I don't know what is happening, but I think Ruto himself, he might not even vie. I'm telling you the truth. Ruto will not give that Kenyans that chance ya ku make sure that ameenda nyumbani na madharau.
So let's go back to the battle in Ol'Kalou, because it's no longer about railway. It's no longer about development projects. It's all about perception. The government wants to show that it still has support. The opposition wants to show that the ground has shifted. And that is the real contest. And that is why every move in Ol'Kalou is being watched so closely. Now, this reminds me of a story I heard about Kimilili. You see, some analysts have started comparing Ol'Kalou to what famously happened in Kimilili by-election.
And there was a by-election. And this was during the KANU time when KANU was winning everything. Yeah, there was no way the president could lose. The whole country was on the edge to see how Kipipiri constituency will decide. It was Moi's KANU and Kibaki's DP. So we went ahead and voted for DP. The whole country was very happy about us. Kila mtu alikuwa nakuuliza, wewe ni wa Kipipiri? Nisalimie. Moi had brought the posts, the electricity posts zimemwagwa, and alikuwa amesema tukichagua KANU stima inawekwa. Sasa vile hatu kuvote, alikuja akachukua posts akaenda nazo. Anyway, later on we now have electricity in most places. So I think her being principled was worth it.
That election became a symbol, a sign that political momentum has started shifting. And now, some people are wondering, could Ol'Kalou become that kind of moment?
It is history repeating itself, that we have almost a very similar situation.
You see, Karen Nyamo might be right. Elections are not won by noise, but also they're not won by panic. And when a government revives a railway after 46 years, just before a by-election, people notice. And when the entire political establishment floods one constituency, one small constituency, people notice. When every available resource is thrown into one race, people also notice.
Pia tumeamrishwa na Rais Dr. William Samoei Ruto tufanye hii to supervise construction ya hii stadium ambayo iko hapa.
That is why Ol'Kalou matters. Because this election is no longer just about choosing a local leader. It is now about answering a much bigger question. And the question is very simple. Can William Samoei Ruto still convince voters that he deserves a second term? Or has the political tide already turned? Ol'Kalou may soon give that answer. Subscribe.